Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Lone Crown Show. And we are at episode 98. So it's getting freakily, terrifyingly close to 100. And
Holy
today,
shit, we're really at 98?
yeah, we're at 98. And today I have Edmund's dad with me here, called Anthony. Hello.
Yes, I am Edmund's dad, also known as Anthony. I swear if that becomes my damn title. Nobody refers to me as Anthony anymore. It's like, hey, it's Edmund's dad.
Yeah. People who don't know you is gonna be so confused. Be like,
Absolutely.
Who the hell is Edmund? Edmund
They
is
will
the
know in the
coolest-
future.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
how are you doing? This fine
Besides
day?
interrupting the crap out of you, and I apologize for that.
Well,
I'm-
don't really interrupting. I just forgot about the daylight save time.
um, I'm doing okay. I bitch about work a lot, almost sounding like, as people joked, Vita.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, life itself is okay. I mean, living in America, struggling to paycheck is pretty much the same story a lot of people can really tell. And it's not a way everybody should live, but that's a political discussion for another time. But I'm still fortunate enough to have a roof over my head. I have a loving son who's now a year and 2 months old, and a loving wife who supports most of what I do, even though sometimes I'm an idiot.
Yeah, you're
So,
a bit crazy.
Oh
I
yeah,
will.
definitely.
Well, we all crazy in our little community of people.
As a wise person once said, some of the best people are mad.
Yeah, I mean, being normal is really boring. I think I've noticed that, especially when it comes to me being interested in other women, it's come to the fact that I don't know. Okay, like talking to just like someone who's like normal, everyday person. I don't know. It just doesn't interest me at all.
You want to go on a blind date and you want the chick to like burst in the window, guns blazing, and you don't realize there's some enemy terrorist cell that also happened to be at that restaurant,
I was so down for that. Like,
and then you're simply just the secondary objective.
yeah, like me being the slightly less crazier person, that's fine with me. Or I can be like, the person needs to be at least slightly crazy. Like, full blown crazy, I don't think I could handle. I don't think most people can handle that, but
No, I mean you don't want somebody who's like watching you as you're sleeping the entire time you're sleeping. Maybe a few moments just to make sure you're still breathing. But
yeah.
like if they're over there for the entire 8 hours or so, you may be lucky enough to sleep. Then there might be a problem.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, like I'm just like when it comes to interesting people in general, it's just I've been watching Banshee, which is a TV show. I've been binge watching that, and there's the guy called Job on it, or Job. I don't like. It's weird. It's like it says like it's the name is Job, but everyone's saying Job, so confusing. But he's a transvestite, and and a hacker, and overall badass. It's like the coolest character ever, and like those type of interesting things is what I like in life. Like, yeah, so Banshee is a good show. That I think the season final for season 3 is this week or next week. So, all hype for that.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean I try to keep up on certain TV shows. I think like Alejandro and I on Family Day we'll have like a rotation of shows that we'll try and catch up on.
Okay.
We're getting pretty serious in Gotham, which I'm pleasantly surprised by. I mean, it's very polarized, the reviews for it, because a lot of people are either like, "Oh my God, Gotham's the best," or a lot of people are like, "Ugh, I just fucking hate Gotham."
I'm sort of the person who's like, sort of meh towards it. I don't know. I like, since I'm not like that much knowledgeable about the comic world, never got into comics, so for me, like all the cool things that people who are into comics see, like I don't see that, and
Actually,
and as a
oh, but
show in general, it's just it's a good show, but like I don't know, the characters for me don't really. I don't know.
no, I could definitely see that because the thing with Gotham, and it kind of happened for me too at the beginning. It's actually probably better that you don't know a lot of the characters well, because the people
Okay.
who really like I'm more Marvel fan, but I am knowledgeable of DC. And I know that like the origins, they're kind of either making up as they go along, or they're kind of taking it from other storylines.
Okay.
So that's what actually pisses a lot of people off, is because a lot of
Okay.
people are upset because all these Batman villains also just happen to live in Gotham and they were
Yeah,
there all along.
that was the thing I was mostly like, like the meeting like Joker and all of that. Like for me, like it's far too convenient. like,
Uh, and I mean, at the very beginning, I could definitely agree. It kind of struggles at first to establish what kind of show it wants to be. But I feel like as it gets there, it starts to build up that momentum, almost kind of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like what
mm,
people said about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It
yeah,
just takes time for that train to get chugging, and then
yeah,
Hype Train has no brakes.
yeah. I still don't get like, for instance, did you know that? Have you seen Agent Carter yet?
I've only watched the first episode. That's also something Alejandro and I are trying to catch up on,
Well,
because we don't have a
the thing
lot of
is
time.
that like according to the ratings, it's doing poorly, which for me is like what, like. But I mean, it's also on Netflix and that sort of stuff. So hopefully it can, like, the rest of the world can save it from the idiot Americans because
Hopefully. Hey,
because
hey,
there,
hey, hey,
because certain shows,
hey. I
I
live in
mean,
America.
yeah, I don't care. Like no, but for
It's true,
some
though.
reason, most of the years, like the shows that fail sort of one like are the bad ones. But this year, I felt like more to the point where people are watching stuff that I don't really get how that sort
It
of
could be
thing is
so
big.
popular.
And another thing, like for instance, Agents of Shield. Yes, season two so far has been better like than the first season because that was really average. But I still don't get it why it has so many like. And then Agent Carter comes out and it's really badass and freaking fantastic, and apparently people are not really watching it. And I'm like, oh, what the
I
fuck?
I hate to say it this way, because usually I don't buy into that kind of stuff, but I will think it's kind of maybe uh gender bias, and I don't mean like the good kind. I mean the bad kind. I
Mm.
think there's probably a lot of people like, "Oh, it's a chick leading it. That doesn't
Yeah,
sound very
I like.
interesting."
Yeah,
Which
that
which
sucks.
is it should be that way, because I mean, whether a show is good or not should not be based off of the gender of the character. Like, people
Or
shouldn't
who's
praise.
playing these characters because apparently there's some shows that's State of Affairs or whatever it's called with Catherine Heigl and another show that's like it has decent ratings, but
Because
since
of star power
yeah,
or something like
exactly,
that.
and it can get allowed to continue because of star power, and that just annoys me because, for instance, there's this show Forever that I really love because I always love this like immortal factor in shows, and it's really good. But apparently, like most people don't watch it, and
Yeah.
it annoys me because instead people are continuing to watch shows that I say has like dipped in quality and keep watching those because people still want to know how that show continues even though like it's not good and it sucks, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, like, on the whole thing with Agent Carter, like I was saying, I mean, the one thing that bothers me is when people be like, "Oh, it's great just because there's a great female, just because there's a female lead," or "Oh,
Yeah.
it's terrible because it's just a female lead."
Mm.
I really think if we want like gender equality, whatever, we need to look past that,
Yeah.
because regardless of the fact that Agent Carter has a female main character, I watched it and I thought it was phenomenal. Like the first episode, I was already like, "Damn, I need to see more. This was
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
The story
It
is well
has so
written."
many badass female characters, and like even as a guy, you can really enjoy these characters. And the men characters are like great as well. But I mean, some of them like are sexist because that was the
Well,
age where they were.
exactly.
And I think the men probably, that may be a reason why their
It might
problem.
piss them off a little bit, but in all honesty, it's historically accurate because a lot of people like to romanticize the 50s because there were some good things about it, but there's some really ugly things about it as well, like the rampant sexism that happened. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what they show you is honestly how most companies or most organizations would treat females. They were basically seen as lesser. So, like
Yeah.
I said, I like that. Like I said, I don't want something to be good just because it's this or bad because it's just that. I want it to be based off of the merit of what the show itself has. And the
Yeah.
show's well written, the action's well paced. It's just a great show. And what's even more depressing is I actually recently somebody posted up the ratings, and ratings wise, funny enough, it's beating out other shows like Supernatural,
Yeah.
which I also watch with
Yeah,
all.
yeah. Well, Supernatural is doing bad in general, apparently.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
But
already been confirmed for next season, so it won't get cancelled.
well, that's
But
the only thing that pisses me off because well, I'll finish off the Agent Carter thing. Agent Carter, like rating wise, they're saying the ratings are bad, but if you actually look at the rating scale, it's actually not doing bad at all. It's actually doing better than some other shows in the same time slots or different time slots. So it's mostly just the executives just bullshitting around,
I mean,
which is
it's
not a good
also
thing.
depending on like what these like where these places, what kind of network they're on, because
Yeah.
that's also like some shows can handle having a lesser like rating, like from people like viewing than others. So
Yeah.
but yeah, for instance, the
But
Forever show has like, it hasn't the worst rating, but like but then it's on a channel where you need better rating.
yeah.
So
But like the whole thing with Supernatural, I was pissed because they originally said before it's like, all right, like 2 seasons ago they're like, all right, we have 2 more seasons and then we're done. This should be the season they should have finished, and without spoiling anything, they really don't have much more they can really do with the story. It really kind of felt like they easily could have wrapped it all up in this one, but now they're like, oh no, we're confirmed for maybe like another season or maybe two.
like
As long as we keep kicking this dead horse and they keep spitting out money, we're gonna keep making it.
I don't think, I think they could have continued like Supernatural. But the problem is that they are dumb enough to don't introduce new like people that's continually going to be in the show. Like when they keep like in the middle, like when they started killing off people close to the Winchesters, and then you have like, oh no, in the future we only have about the Winchester, and then you have Castiel. Like you can't like just have like these people are already fleshed out as much as they could. You need like why would they be alone forever? Like they don't meet any people that they would eventually team up with again. Like I think they like failed
Yeah,
that part.
I like the symbolism behind it though. They're kind of showing like the inevitability of their struggle and
Yeah,
like
but then you
the
have to
whole
end
thing
it.
of
If you go that route, you need to like
that's why I'm saying
end
they
it.
should have
Yeah,
ended it here.
yeah.
But instead they want to continue because like they went down the path of where even villains and other characters are like, "Oh, you get close to the Winchesters, you die." Because I mean that's something you constantly see. It
Yeah.
kind of makes it darker and it makes you feel more sympathetic towards the Winchesters sometimes, or even you kind of question their decisions and be like, well, sometimes things you do get people killed, and that's kind of why you don't see them pairing up with people because they are distancing themselves for that reason. But yeah, definitely if they're going to go that route, then this is where it should have ended.
Yeah.
They're running out of bad guys.
Yeah, and also like the person I pissed off like most that they get rid of it in a certain way was Meg.
Yeah. Spoiler alert to anybody who actually wants to like watch that, and that kind of pissed me off too. I was really hoping for like an
Like
unconfirmed
you can't
like coming
hint
back or
the
whatever.
Castiel Meg thing and just do.
They're trying to be Game of Thrones, but they're not doing very well at it.
Not
Or
in
even
that
worse, like what pissed me off, another character that they killed off, spoiler alert, cover your ears for a moment, is when they killed off Gabriel.
Yeah, I
He,
agree.
like first he was it was the twist that he first he's the trickster, and then it's
Yeah,
the twist that he's actually an angel,
yeah,
and then on top of that he's tricking other people other gods into thinking he's Loki. The dude was ingenious, so
yeah,
for him to go out like a punk like that was
yeah.
just like meh. Or even worse, the one episode where Metatron is messing with Castiel's head,
Mm.
and at the end of the episode, because it was all like a fiction that Metatron wrote, Castiel even questions. He's like, "Are you really alive?" And then Gabriel winks. It's like, what the fuck is that
Mm.
for? They're purposely trolling the audience.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. They haven't done. Like, that's a problem with the show that had the plans for ending off at season 6, sort of,
yeah,
in the beginning, and like you had it all that planned, and afterwards they were like just a mess. Some of the seasons.
you keep getting money, you're gonna keep making it.
Yeah,
I mean, look at the Call of Duty franchise.
yeah,
Other TV shows though, like I said, so Supernatural, Gotham, Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls is underrated. It's supposed to be a kids show, but there's definitely some more. I wouldn't say like adult like graphic kind of stuff, but it definitely seems like it's for actually a more mature audience than it lets on, and it's kind of like Supernatural for kids almost, because a lot of the stuff that they go into, I really love mythology. I really love lore. I really love like things that are supernatural in nature. So it wasn't a surprise that it was easy for Alejandro to get me to watch that. And Edmund loves watching it, so it's like a plus.
okay.
Um, Gravity Falls. Once Upon a Time, which I know is everybody's gonna be like, "Well, here."
I like, well, like I watched Once Upon a Time for like a long time, uh, and like there's like, I won't spoil for people, but there's a moment in the Peter Pan arc, I can say that much, that makes no fucking sense at all.
No,
That
nope.
just made me like,
It felt like they built it up like it was gonna be something awesome, and they're just like, "Oh shit, we don't know what to do here. Fuck it, jumble it up and let's just throw it at them. They'll just accept it."
like that's probably one of the where I've been most disappointed of a show ever, because like that was such a moment that wanted me to stop watching the show forever, because like you can't pull that sort of stuff.
Uh, I will say this: the Frozen arc, I originally was upset with and thought it was just like a major cash grab, but that arc was done very well. I actually would say I like that season probably better than some of the newer seasons. The newest season, though, I don't know if you've like
No,
watched
no,
the first two episodes or not.
I stopped
It's
around the time where they
it's
left the town, like
oh,
she and the kid left.
it's lame. I don't like it now. Maybe they can turn it around, but I don't see it getting better. Like I would agree with you. It's like it seems like it's kind of going downhill. Like I said, the Frozen arc was kind of like an uplift. I did like the
Okay.
Frozen arc, but
Maybe I should
after
watch that, but then I
yeah,
want to
that arc was
continue to watch and then know
I
that it's getting worse.
yeah this season already 2 episodes in, and I'm already like meh. Maybe they have some tricks up their sleeve that they're gonna pull out, but they need to do it soon. Um, Other than that, I kind of got into a reality TV show. I watched it a while back,
Okay.
the first season, and then I wasn't so sure about the second season, so I kind of missed out on it, but rewatched it recently. And then, like, Alejandro and I are hardcore watching the third season, but it's King of the Nerds. You probably seen me, like, tweet about it quite a
Yeah,
few
yeah.
times. But I really like it. I like the concept of it because, for one thing, you have, Curtis and Bobby. For anybody who knows or doesn't know, they are originally from Revenge of the Nerds, which is like a cult classic nerd style flick, and they're the hosts.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like this real world style Big Brother type of thing, where you take a lot of people from a lot of different nerdy backgrounds, whether it be like pop culture style nerdy, or even just legitimate, like they work for NASA or they're
Okay.
major mathematician style nerds, and they take all these people, they put them in two different teams, and they put them in this house called Nerdvana.
Okay.
And it is like any geek or Nerd's Wet Dream, because they have like literally everything you can think of in there. They have big ass screens with the latest gaming systems. They got hardcore gaming PCs. Another section, they got stuff if you want to build stuff for cosplay, or they got materials if you're an engineer to go ahead and build robots, whatever you can think of. Anything you could think of that's nerd related or geek related is pretty much in this house. They even have like just shelves and shelves of books to read too.
Okay.
And that alone is one of the things that I like, but it's also interesting to see the different, like, they have, first off, a nerd war, which is the two teams face off against each other in some kind of nerd related uh, contest, and then whoever loses, then the way it works is then two of those people will go on kind of on the chopping block, and they have to face each other in a nerd off, which is another geeky related uh, tie into whatever it might be. And then whoever loses, they get eliminated, and it keeps whittling down until one person is crowned king of the nerds, and they win $100,000. And it's something I'm probably actually going to audition for season 4 if I can.
Okay.
That's going to be funny, especially if I can get on there. Anthony on King of the Nerds hype.
That would be. We support you all the way.
Yeah, my only concern is my stomach issues. Especially because they're constantly feeding these people Little Caesars,
Okay.
which is my favorite kind of pizza, but it is greasy, confirmed. But yeah, if you get a chance, I would probably say definitely check it out, because it's not like your typical reality TV show. It's interesting to see how these people interact with one another. The house is gorgeous. The contests that they have the two teams they go against each other are always interesting, and they're definitely they're definitely geeky nonetheless. Like the last one they did before they dissolved the teams and it's every person for themselves, is they had a horror movie themed kind of one where they had to pull like a CSI to where it was each team had to face each other in 3 stages.
Okay.
You had 5 people that were dressed up in like Halloween costumes. They were supposed to be like the Invisible Man, female vampire, Wolfman, Frankenstein's monster, and whatnot. And then it started off like phase 1 is they had to take these different objects, which were supposed to be the murder weapon. They were supposed to find the fingerprints and then match the fingerprints to each monster. Once they got that correct, next phase was they had to do a blood splatter analysis to see, based on the different monsters' heights, which blood matched them. And then from the next third and final phase was they had to take hair samples and try and match it to each person. So it's cool how they had that kind of like CSI thing going on, and that's just an example of like some of the contests they do. And then for the nerd off, which like I was like, no, I should have been there. They had a horror movie quote contest for the nerd off.
Okay.
It was Colby versus Amanda, and what was cool is you had to pick easy, medium, or hard. They gave you a movie quote from a horror movie, and you had multiple choice to pick it. And then if you're right, if it was easy, you only get to smash 1 zombie head. If it's medium, you get to smash 2 zombie heads. Or if it's hard, you get to smash 3 zombie heads. And every zombie head you smash, which is like a watermelon underneath the zombie mask on these stand-ups, gets different point values. At the very end, whoever has the most points wins. The other person has to go home.
Okay.
So they were able to work that in there. And one that really pissed me off is the moment Curtis said, "No, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants." Before he even showed the 4 choices, I just screamed at the television, nearly woke up Edmund, and also kind of upset Alejandro just a little bit. I was like, "Army of Darkness! It's Army of Darkness! Oh my God, it's Army of Darkness!" And it's just the four choices, and of course that was one of them.
Yeah.
So like that kind of stuff, I would love to be there and be able to participate in these kind of crazy shenanigans that they get into.
Yeah, and you'll be good for that sort of things. You're way too excited, and people would remember you.
Well, I thank you for that.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe I should say a lot of TV shows. Yeah, we talked earlier about shows that's getting probably canned. Like About the Boy is a show I really enjoy, and like it's pretty much dead, and that sucks because I really love that one.
I heard about that. It was supposed to be like based off, well, not based off the movie, but it's like
based off the book, sort of, and it's set in San Francisco, and I think And like from a comedy standpoint, I think it's one of the more consistent ones. Like comedy shows that I watch, like it has rarely has lows. It may not be like it has the highs that most of the shows has, but I feel like it stay consistent for the most of part.
Yeah, it doesn't deserve the treatment that it's getting as far as
Yeah.
like maybe ratings or reviews are concerned.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it sucks. But yeah, the ratings is really horrible for it. So
That's unfortunate.
yeah. So yeah, they used to have now they have Fox has a new show called Last Man on Earth. It's literally about last man. He like goes around in a bus driving across all of America and finds nobody except he writes on every like sign live in Tucson. And then suddenly the female turns up there and she's like it's like really awkward like relationship they have and that sort of thing. So
Because if they truly are the last people on Earth, it's either they have to repopulate or there goes all of humanity.
yeah, exactly.
So it makes it really awkward.
Yeah,
Because they may not necessarily like each other the way each of them may act or even look or whatever reasons people choose to get into those kind of situations.
Yeah, they wouldn't have like for instance like when like the first meet and she's like, why did you run a red light? Like
What?
less people on like, and then he wanted to just park the car like next to like the supermarket, but no, that's not the parking space. And he was like, what the fuck? Like,
it's like, but there's nobody here.
Yeah. So
is there any like zombies or anything like that, or is
no.
they're just the only two people that they know of so far?
There was a virus that wiped nearly everyone on the planet.
Oh damn!
And so yeah, like
so it's still like
it's more comedy. It's more comedy.
Oh okay.
Sort of thing. So
that sounds interesting. I'll probably have to check that out.
Yeah, so it's only like 2 episodes in, so I can't really make much of a judgment yet. But
it's better to review something new, see if it's good or
not. Yeah, but I'm starting to get the vibe that it's a little bit too predictable, because like apparently like they teased like right at the end of this second episode, another one shows up, another female shows up, and she's the hot one. Sort of.
Oh no.
So so like what I expecting is like, oh my god, he's gonna be like, oh my god, she's the hot one, and then in the end he's gonna finally realize I like this other crazy chick instead, and I'll be like, oh.
Unless they truly throw you for a loop and they totally just have him go for the hot chick and stay that way.
Yeah.
Just to mess with your head.
Yeah, because for once that would make sense. Sort of.
Depending on the person, some people still go based solely off of looks. I guess I'll go ahead and I'll jump in here.
Okay.
And shamelessly promote my channel.
Okay.
If you haven't checked me out, it's Amazingly Average Gameplay of Anthony, AmzAveGameAnt. Check out my YouTube channel. Recently, I did a gaming with Rasmus.
Yes.
As well as Doug, where we played Sanctum 2, which was a surprisingly fun game. Like, I thought it was going to be okay, but I ended up having more fun than I even realized. And even more recently, not recorded, but you should still check out that recording. Play it again off the record, but before my internet crapped out. But on my channel, I do gaming with, where I game with friends and even random people online, or even followers.
Yeah.
I have playthroughs, reviews, game guides, just all sorts of stuff, discussions. Like most recently, I'm doing Dragon Age Inquisition, which I know you're not entirely thrilled with.
No,
it's a weird situation.
I mean, I just like it's a good game, but it's not a fantastic one. Like
I only like it a little bit more than Origins. I only like a little bit more, only because I really feel that they fleshed out the character so well. Like Origins had some
Yeah, but you have
He
no
was
real choices in Dragon Age Inquisition. That's fucking like
Yeah, no,
pointless as
they
fuck.
did kind of cut that out.
Yeah, and that's my like. You have
You had
free.
probably only two like serious considerations you had to make that you were just like two
Mm,
oh shit moments.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess we won't spoil them, but yeah, just two oh shit moments, and I'm sure you know which ones they were.
yeah, probably.
But I'm trying to get Dragon Ball Xenoverse, but GameFly's being a bunch of bastards. It's now like 12 days, no game, rip. But I
Yeah,
really want to play that because I heard
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like the best Dragon Ball game they've made so far. So I'm pumped to play that.
I really enjoyed it, and like everything feels so fulfilling when you get certain stuff in it.
Did you buy it? And it's like for PlayStation 4?
Yes.
Perfect. Because I'm gonna when I rent it from GameFly, I'm probably gonna tell them to keep it because I can get it for like probably half the price,
Okay.
which that I can manage. There's no way in hell I can afford to pay for it full price because I'm broke as hell.
Mhm.
But Austin also has the game, so we can go ahead and three-man squad up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I I when it comes to Dragon Ball, I read the manga up until Android storyline, and
Yeah, I couldn't get much further than Frieza, either manga or anime based. To me, like Frieza is kind of after Frieza is kind of where it just went.
I read Dragon Ball. I started reading that when I was, I don't remember, 10, 11.
Dragon
So-
Ball's pretty good throughout. I really
Yeah,
can't
yeah. I
think
mean,
of an arc in
like
Dragon Ball that's bad.
also it was translated into Swedish. I
Nice.
hadn't, yeah, because I hadn't really learned English. I couldn't use like a little bit of English at that point, but nothing like reading books knowledgeable. But yeah, I read up until Android, and then I just stopped because, like I said with Dan last week, it just like you always keep meeting like tougher and tougher, and everyone is more powerful every time, and like it makes no sense.
Or even worse, I mean, it came to a point where in like the Z series, that almost everybody was useless with the exception of like Gohan and Goku,
Yeah,
or their kids.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
That's
even Vegeta like was useful maybe for like a few moments, and then he's just not powerful enough.
yeah, and that I agree. I think it's that part is like pretty stupid, and like
Which, I mean, I'm thankful they beefed Vegeta up in the Majin Buu saga, but even then, he still wasn't that powerful, and it really just came down to the two of them fusing together to do most of the work, and then, of course, Goku, like, finishes everything off. I love Goku, but, I mean, come on.
yeah, it makes no sense really that he's like the only one that, and he's sort of like helps you out as well in the game,
Yeah.
like you would expect, because he's Goku. I thought the most hilarious moment for me playing Dragon Ball Xenoverse was when meeting Frieza and hearing that everyone getting wrecked by his super, and and since he went Super Saiyan, so he can spam his ultimate forever. That's what you can do when you go Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball games. You can use your ultimates and super as much as you can.
You go in Super Saiyan, your ki doesn't drain?
Yeah, when you're using them. Well, it does drain, but it just does over a period of time. So
Okay,
it slowly
so it's like a
goes
slow
down.
drain, but as it's slowly draining, you could just like spam your super.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And
kind of shitty at the same
so
time.
yeah, except for like when the AI uses it, he has it forever. So if Goku uses it or Gohan uses it, he uses like it never drains. So he can use it forever. So what happened was where everyone else was getting wrecked by Frieza, he just spammed Super Kameha over and over again, and I was like just standing by the side watching, like, okay, this is me helping out this much, and so I beat that part easily because I did barely anything.
Yeah, I heard like that was hard. Actually, playing the four transformation, actually I think it was like five phases of the boss fight of when Frieza just goes into his final form instantaneously.
Yeah.
I didn't get to play it, but actually no, I did kind of get to play it because what it was is I watched my buddy try and play it.
Mm.
He kept getting his ass handed to him. Now,
Yeah.
funny story, we didn't realize you could use items.
Okay. Okay.
So
That
we did
that
the
time.
fight, no items, just flat out through the five phases, and he could not beat it. And
Well,
Goku, for some reason, wasn't really much help because, which is funny because you said he pretty much fought the fight for you
yeah.
when you did it. But
Well,
then
he
it came to
didn't really. The AI doesn't really fight. They just spam their abilities, or
yeah,
sometimes they punch. And it's funny because some characters are way worse than others. Like for instance, Piccolo, like he's really bad. In like you can basically own him every fucking time. I don't know why that is. If it's about the Namekians being bad in in Dragon Ball in the game, but he was so easy. And then you have like just Berter, who's one of the Jinjo squad,
yeah,
who you like just fucked me up big time. And then, like he's just an average dude, so like certain things doesn't make sense. Who's good and who's not, and
yeah.
it's just like makes no sense the balance of it all. So
Yeah, so the way we beat it, sadly enough, is I just like kited Frieza the entire time. I just kept spamming him with key blasts, so he kept like getting stunned by it
okay,
just long enough for like Piccolo to do enough damage, or like when Goku finally came around for Goku to do enough damage.
yeah,
So it's like I'm slowly chipping away at his life, but keeping him from ever really doing full combos or any real moves on whoever my AI ally was,
mm,
so he couldn't kill them. But basically,
okay,
the AI still did most of the work. So we finally beat it because I had to resort to that cheap ass tactic. And
mm,
then only afterwards, because I've been watching my friend play, and he only just had it for like 2 days,
yeah,
and he never knew there was items, and because he never knew, I never knew there was items.
yeah,
So I went to the store and I'm like, dude, you can buy items, you can use them in the middle of the match. And he's like, what? So that match was unnecessarily a lot harder than it probably needed to be because of that.
yeah,
But it was
uh,
so enjoyable, and I actually got to make my character, which you saw, which was just, I was like,
yeah, yeah. I went, yeah, I went Namekian because like I don't know. I always thought Piccolo was the most badass in Dragon
oh yeah,
Ball Z.
I love Piccolo. He's definitely my second favorite character. Of course, you know who number one is.
Vegeta.
Goku.
Goku, yeah. Well, some people actually say we actually
No,
like Vegeta the
I
best.
like Vegeta's character development, but he's still no Goku.
No.
Going
Like,
from being a douchebag to being a good guy's cool and all, but being a good guy from the start, that's what's up.
yeah,
And he's just so innocent,
yeah.
like sometimes stupidly so, but it's like it's hard not to like Goku, other
Yeah,
than the fact that he's
exactly.
overpowered.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny because like when he's talking in the game, you keep forgetting like you see him as such a badass, like most of the time in Dragon Ball game in the game because mostly it's just when he's pissed off or like
Oh yeah,
badass moments. But then you have like the just general moments where he like every time you fight him in like the parallel quests, he was also oh my like meeting like uh, uh, my character since I'm Namekian, he will always do the comments like oh it's almost like fighting Piccolo, like happy and everything.
yeah,
And,
like he's always praising you. You're just like,
Yeah.
shut up! I'm trying to kick your ass.
he's so happy. So like yeah, this feels
Oh.
weird.
I can't wait to get that game, especially because you and I could do like co-op parallel quests, or even get Austin involved if he stops being a flaky bastard.
Mm. The
I
only
totally made
thing-
a saying.
The only thing I was a bit disappointed with, like, see the linked me on Twitter, like, way too easily get Dragon Balls. So I did that, and I was a little bit disappointed what it like gives you, because you really should be going for the Dragon Balls early in the game.
Yeah,
But you don't like. I feel like yeah, you should be like getting Dragon Balls here and there throughout the game, and then you sort of get it maybe at the end. But that's really not how it works. You should
Yeah.
be getting it early in the game because, for instance, I wanted to see what it was like to get it, so I did that trick, and then after I beat the game. I was like, you get these options, and I'm like, I want to get more power, and I got a bunch of shit I didn't need. And I'm like, yeah, that was fucking waste.
Actually, yeah. How does the Dragon Balls and making the wish work? Because I know in Budokai Tenkaichi, like the previous games, I'm trying to
You
remember which
find
one
them in the
started it.
parallel quests.
But I mean, when you actually make the wish, what do you get? Because I think it's in.
You get like 10 different choices. You can make another character. So like is one
Oh,
of
you
them,
get
I
another
think.
slot.
Yeah, I don't know what that part means. You can change your appearance, I think is one of them, and then like it says make another character, like make a character. I don't know. Maybe it's replacing yours at the same level. I don't understand really what that one was like. And then you get a new suit. You can get a new ultimate if you like that, or like.
Okay, so it's just like the Tenkaichi games, because I don't remember if it's Tenkaichi 1 or Tenkaichi 2 that I'm probably mispronouncing the name of the game too, but where you can actually gather the 7 Dragon Balls and make the wish, and that's what you would get. Like you'd get different capsule items.
Mm.
So I guess it's kind of like that. So that's cool that they kind of brought that back. But
Yeah,
unfortunately,
but I mean, like,
the way they handled
unless you like it's really hard to get that unless you uh, like do the spam or the little trick you can do to get the Dragon Balls early. So
Yeah.
unless you do that, like it's not really worth it, in my opinion.
How do you feel about games nowadays? Like a lot of people, I mean, we're seeing lots of remasters, and we see games that are coming out that are like massive hype, and they just fall completely flat. Like
The
Unity in
good games are
1886.
indie games. Yeah, is my opinion, and most of the sort of AAA things are just they're hyped up because they like it's all about just fucking selling things at this point. At
Money,
some
money,
point,
money, money.
yeah, exactly. It's not really about making good games. I feel like from like the publisher's standpoint, like because for instance Sony with the order, for instance, there's
Fuck
some
Sony.
some decisions there that's clearly like boardroom decisions, how the story or whatever it's supposed to go.
I heard it was a good prologue game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like it's disappointing to say the least, in my opinion, because like it had potential. You clearly
Or
see it has potential, but I mean,
and
was
stuff
what it
like
was.
that. Hearing that makes me sad because I'm definitely one of those people. Like I try to get hyped for games because I want more games to play, more games to be interested in. I'm glad at least Inquisition in my mind kind of delivered on that hype. There's still some features that got cut out that I was excited for. It kind of made
Mm.
me sad, which only further lends to that point. But like Evil Within, I was hyped for that game. I beat it, but I was pretty much like I'm not really
Yeah,
this game's not all as great as I thought it would be. Or
yeah. I
even
mean,
Order. Like I had
everyone.
that in my queue and I had to get rid of it because everybody's like it's awful. And even watching my friend play, it's maybe very beautiful. The story may be interesting, but it's not interesting enough, and it's way too goddamn short.
Yeah, and like my like for instance, now that if I see a Ubisoft game, for instance, I'm gonna unless it's one of their like indie direction games, like they try to do like indie style type of games. Those are good from Ubisoft, but all of the AAA stuff you can like they're the same game in different like different styles. Like
Which
that's
like scares me because I was really looking forward to the Division. And remember how we were discussing that before and how
fuck
they were supposed to
like
have different maps for different regions? They've already said they're cutting that.
yeah, I know. I saw that at E3 when they were like just showing in New York. I'm like, they're just talking about New York. What the fuck is going on? So I went on to their channel, and I was watching the whole E3 thing with Hazard all day. and
Yeah, because I came
and
later in on that.
yeah, and I was like, nah, this is like I just like year before when we all sat in a Skype group as well, uh, and I remember we watched the Division. I was really hyped because like yeah, finally we get to play in Europe more, and just different regions will have different cities. It's really awesome. And now that is not gonna happen. It looks like just every other Ubisoft game now.
Yeah, it's
Great.
like it's that's why I'll mostly put a lot of games into my GameFly queue because I'm most things nowadays just end up being rentals than actual purchases, and I don't know, maybe it's because my taste in games, or even just people in general's taste in games have changed.
No,
Maybe we
no,
expect more than we
no.
should.
People
I
of
don't think so.
open world. They're trying to, like, when it comes to open world games, everyone is trying to make as many open world games as possible because it requires less work, because you can have this fucking empty world and just put on
Sprinkle some shit in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go do it.
And that's my problem. I don't even know, like, you have a great open world game like Shadow of Mordor, and I can't even manage, like, after a while just I stop playing because, like, I can't like get the, like, enjoyment of playing open world games anymore.
See, and that's what I find interesting too, because everybody praises Shadow of Mordor so much, and I honestly didn't beat it, but I played through it, and it really didn't feel like it was all that amazing or interesting. Other than like the Nemesis system was an interesting concept, but I mean, otherwise you're basically just playing Assassin's Creed with Lord of the Rings skin. And I even heard the story was lame. The only thing that was good was the gameplay.
Yeah, the only thing that made it hard was the fact that it's harder to execute people.
Yeah.
Because you needed to, like, press two buttons at the same time or whatever it is you needed to do. And I just fucking hated that because it just makes it take longer time than it should.
Yeah, because what I understand, they kind of mashed together the fighting system of, Arkham series and melded it with like Assassin's Creed as far as like the assassinations and the other stuff like that. And that doesn't sound like it's bad gameplay wise, but
yeah, it was fun for a while, but I mean, it wasn't really focused on the story standpoint, and the story didn't make me feel like, I want to continue this game.
It doesn't feel like a lot. It doesn't feel. I mean, everybody has their own opinions, but to me, it's like I don't see that being game of the year. But at the same time, there's plenty of people that don't see,
I thought most of
Inquisition being game of the year either.
Yeah, I thought most of the, like, indie games was the indie games are the ones that pull punches, and also are not afraid, like you don't have to have $60 games anymore. I think that's going to be something that gradually gonna be less sort of things, because, like, for instance, the Order 1886, like, yeah, it is for people. Some people may enjoy it, but it still is $60 for a 7-hour game, and it's like you could like go buy a couple of movies for that, and instead just watch them instead.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we start treading on some, interesting ground. Because, exactly, everybody has different opinions on that. I mean, you have the game developers who actually see what the overhead it costs to make some of these games, like the amount of time that's put in for these people working hours and hours into it, the technology involved, the costs, and so on. But at the same time, it's also like, all right, well, like you presented, which is also a very good point. It's like, all right, well, you're giving me a 6-hour game that has little to no replayability, and you want me to dish out $60, which to the average person isn't exactly very easy to pull off either.
Yeah,
like I have to pick out maybe 2 or 3 games, maybe if I'm lucky, a couple more in a year.
Yeah.
So to have me spend $60 on something like that, I could definitely see why people, even in my situation, I wouldn't be very too happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But the only scary thing is then, okay, we start lowering the price, and then what else are we going to see them do? Because then they might want to go ahead and try and break it off into even tinier chunks, or who knows what kind of shenanigans they might try to go with.
Some people have pointed out that you should have, like, for instance, if you have Call of Duty, and you don't want to have the single player, you should be able to just pay $40 for the multiplayer, sort of, and then you could either buy in $20 more if you ever wanted to get the.
And I agree with that business model, but then the only thing that scares me is then what will publishers do when that happens? Because then what other ways will they find to try and nickel and dime us into paying that extra money? It's like, okay, well, you have multiplayer, but if you want these kind of weapons, these only weapons come from as unlocks from the single-player campaign or some other bullshit they might try and pull.
Yeah, but still, they don't really need to do that because they can still sell their fucking map packs for ridiculous
$20 for 4 maps.
Idiots. Like, you can just get CS:GO on on PC and then for a way lesser price, and they just keep updating, giving you maps. Like, I don't know. Just feels like that when it comes to value, it's just not really these days. Yeah, I haven't been hyped for a game in a long time. The next game I'm gonna be hyped for is Kingdom Hearts 3. And like some rumors say that it's coming out this autumn. And I'm really worried about that because Square Enix generally never put out games in the hardcore gaming season. So who knows? They usually put it, I don't know, summertime or end of summer, or like January, February, when they can rule alone the games.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, they don't try and pull some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I feel like, for instance, everyone's so hyped for Witcher 3 and Arkham. What's the next one? Arkham.
I do not care. I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to get a lot of hate.
Arkham Knight.
It is don't care about Arkham Knight at all.
My problem is it's like I was going to get, for instance, this Arkham. What's the second game called? Arkham City.
Yeah, I played Arkham Asylum. Loved Arkham Asylum.
Like,
Arkham City.
Yeah, I should have played Arkham
like,
Asylum because that's like more my style. And then Arkham City, I was watching Phil play it, and I saw the fucking snipers everywhere, and I was like, open world and snipers everywhere. Will just piss me the fuck off. Like, it's not fun. It's just fucking annoying.
Exactly. I played Asylum, loved it. I played through City, beat it, because any game I start, I have to beat, no matter how bad it is in my eyes. I'm looking at you, fortunately, too. I played through that. I didn't like City at all. I didn't like Arkham City. By the time I was done with it, I'm like, all right, good. I beat it. I'm done with it. And I didn't even bother with Origins, and I'm not going to bother with Arkham Knight.
Yeah, well, Origins is like, that was just them like giving to another studio to cash in. Like, I think it will be better, like Arkham Knight, but then again, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Although when it comes to Witcher 3, I don't know. I'm gonna wait until I see people play it and see because it's like they're going open world, so I'm a little bit afraid about it all. Maybe I should try. I've tried a little bit of Witcher 2. I don't know. I just couldn't get into Witcher.
I played the games out of order, which is something I usually don't do. Like, I have Witcher 1 on my PC, but I got Witcher 2 for like dirt cheap off GameFly.
Okay.
So I think it was like during their $10 blowout sale, and I get 10% off plus I had a $5 coupon, so I got it for like nothing.
Yeah.
But I really loved Witcher 2. I love the story of it. A lot of people like to bash it because of the fact that, Geralt is a womanizer, But you don't really see that as much as 2, as from what I understand, in 1, to where you actually get like trading cards for sleeping with chicks, which I can see why people
Okay.
might get upset. But
Yeah.
it's whatever. It's what
Yeah.
they're doing. So be it. As long as the rest of it's
Yeah, I mean, if the
well told.
character is a womanizer, then the character is a
And
womanizer.
that's the thing that some people fail to realize is, at least I don't know about the second or the third uh, games, but the original Witcher was based off of a book.
Mm.
I mean, it was a book to a game, and they were trying to keep true to the character. The
Yeah.
trading cards maybe have been unnecessary, but the fact that
Yeah.
he was a womanizer was still true to that character.
Yeah.
But I still need to play 1. I played 2, loved it. I'm excited for 3. I don't understand this huge war that people have between Dragon Age as a series versus Witcher as a series,
It
because
makes
to
no
me
sense.
they're apples and oranges.
It makes no sense.
So
Because
when
they're
people's like,
not even
"Oh,
close
Witcher
to-
3 is going to be so much better than Dragon Age 3," it's like, okay, well that's your bias. That's just like me saying Dragon Age 3 is better, or Dragon Age Inquisition, we'll not call it 3, is better than The Witcher 3 when I come out and play it. I wouldn't say that, because I'm actually equally excited for both. I mean, I may love Dragon Age as a series more, but I'm still definitely looking forward to see what CD Projekt Red can do with Witcher 3. A little, like you said, apprehensive because of the open world aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if anybody can do it, I mean, CD Projekt Red's been pretty much on point with a lot of the stuff they've made. So I think if anybody can do it right, it could be them.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, like it's basically been done for a while. They just don't want to mess it up, and I think that's really awesome of them. Like, they really want to make sure that everyone will have the best experience when playing.
And I mean, it's really better to make sure that there's that polish.
Yeah.
Because
we
that
rarely get
almost
that nowadays.
happened. Yeah, that almost happened in Inquisition. Inquisition was supposed to release a year earlier than it did. Can you imagine if they did?
Well, someone made a better decision there, and I still think that game wasn't ready. Dragon Age Inquisition, in my mind, I feel
I
like
think
there's some decisions in that game that people could have told them, like, easily. Like, people were testing that game that could have amended some of the things in Dragon Age.
Yeah, I definitely feel like some of the decisions could have had more gravity with the minus, like I said, maybe minus like 1 or 2 things that happened. I do agree with you, though, after playing it again and again and again and doing multiple playthroughs, that I can kind of agree with you on the side quest aspect of it. That it really doesn't feel nearly as organic as it should be.
Yeah.
It kind of just feels like it's there, just
Yeah.
as an excuse to get experience, which really is what side quests are.
Yeah.
But previous BioWare titles did a really good job of making it feel like it was part of that greater story, and it made it feel meaningful. As to it. This time it doesn't feel. This time not so much. It's kind of just like, go here, do this, do that.
And I think the problem as I had is that you don't get anything from beating this side quest. That's my biggest problems with the side quest. For instance, if you compare that to, you don't get the payoff. That's the word I'm looking for. Comparing that to Dragon Age Origins, where you have like these side quests, they're fewer, but they're more well done. Even Knights of the Old Republic 1 and stuff like that, you could tell like every like conversation mattered and was interesting.
It either added to the lore of the land, or even maybe to the climate or some of your enemies. It always had some kind of meaning. You definitely felt, like you said, like there was that payoff. You felt rewarded. It felt meaningful. It felt good. Which is why, like in Origins and in Knights of the Old Republic, the first one, or even in the second one, even though that wasn't a BioWare game, I always felt the need to like do every side quest, see what's going on, see what the people are saying, see what they need, hear what they have to say, and it felt good. I always felt compelled to do so, and to this, not so much. Now it's like, oh man, I kind of need to level up, or I need to get more experience. Oh, let me go do some side quests.
I think that, like, that sort of thing, like, that was the problem with them going open world. They like, sacrificed the side quest quality for having it being open world, and I think that was a mistake, because like most of the time you're just running around, or like you don't really want to use the horse because you don't get any conversation on the horses because
Yeah.
everyone just disappears. Like it's the dumbest. That point, like they should have made it so everyone was on horses, because
Yeah.
then would have a little bit less annoyed by it, because you just have to run everywhere, because if you don't do that you don't get any conversations at all. And
It could have been a technical issue why they didn't have multiple horses. That's what I'm thinking.
that it
But
probably is because they like your
even just the
AI
single
just
horse, it's kind of
AI will
wonky.
sometimes, when you just run with them, suddenly jump up on a mountain quickly, and you're like, oh shit, he just suddenly was up on that mountain there. Okay, how the
Or you
fuck
could
did
have
he
it
do
be
that?
static to where they all move at the same time in the same like formation at all times, and then
Yeah.
people would just bitch about how unnatural it looks.
Mm.
It was like a lose either way. I will say this though. I am excited. They already announced there's going to be a new story DLC on the way, so I'm kind of hyped up again for that.
Mm.
And I don't know if you've heard or not, but they're going to release the Black Emporium too.
Yeah, I heard about that. I saw
They
that.
already added party storage and armor tinting. Oh, I've needed armor tinting from the beginning.
Yeah, armor tinting was something that was like, when it comes to customization, I don't know. Like, I liked, for some reason, I liked Origins more than Inquisition, even though you have more options.
Yeah.
But that's probably because they limit you of the style everyone wears, sort of more.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you really didn't have that many schematics. Like I thought there was going to be a plethora of them.
yeah.
I mean, even using certain materials to break the gap, so like you can go and have a heavy fighter wearing light armor and so on. It's still, even if you add all those together, it really didn't feel like there was that much, because a lot
Yeah.
of the different schematics you had, they all looked the same,
And
or maybe like
as
tiny variations.
as an elf, I was fairly disappointed, because my idea was I wanted to go warrior. First part, I wanted to be sword and shield.
Yeah.
I
Sword
sort
work
of
win.
well, more because it was the idea that he would, like, I had a plan that he would take after the first
The hero Ferelden.
yeah, exactly, who
Try and lead by their example.
exactly. And I hated that, so I went to two-handed quite quickly. But I wanted to have the same as his, because like Hero Ferelden, I had the most like badass blood or dragon armor, or whatever it's called, dragon armor thing.
Yeah.
And you look badass, like this, like elf who's not like this big, but he has a fucking badass armor. I had what's darkspawn sword and darkspawn shield, and was like, fuck, this is badass. And all of the armors you have is just, he doesn't look badass at all.
Yeah, it's rather plain.
Yeah.
Especially because like when they showed you like all the different variations, like in the one video I have, it's showing you like it's zooming from one character to another, and they all look different.
Yeah.
It's really not as much variety as you thought it would be. That's why I'm kind of looking forward. One of the reasons why I'm looking forward to the DLC, or even like they already said in the DLC, there's going to be new armor schematics and weapon schematics, and even in the new patch, which is coming out soon, which is a free patch that's going to have the Black Emporium, they're also going to add more schematics. I really think I want to see more of that. I want to see just different outfits. Yeah. Or what I was hoping they would do, but they didn't, is I was hoping they would go with the Old Republic kind of way they handled it, like in that MMO, which they own, and I mean they can easily get the idea from their own stuff.
Yeah.
Is the stats should have been based off of the materials you used, not based off of what you were trying to build.
Yeah.
And instead, they kind of did that, but what they did is they had tiers.
Yeah.
Like, the armor and the weapons were tiered. So, like the Wave Blade, like the blade from that was Starfang and Origins, I got that and it was masterwork, but it wasn't as powerful as the final version of the Inquisitor sword that you can get.
Mm.
And that made me so disappointed because I really wanted to keep the Wave Blade, but because it caps at a certain point, even with the best materials, it
Mm.
wasn't worth it DPS wise.
Yeah.
So I was hoping they would stick to the Old Republic system to where the looks did not matter, period, at all. What mattered is what materials you used to build it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And that's like the problem will like this like my reason why I don't think Dragon Age Inquisition is like a finished like it was more finished than it would have been if they put it out a year earlier. But I mean, like we talk about polished games, like we talk about Witcher 3, it's not even close to like, for instance, like the customization part. And like I can forgive them for having the side quest being like lesser quality because they went on the open world route, but it like it wasn't polished enough, the game. It didn't have enough stuff that made it feel like made it interesting, and whoever did the artwork for the Darkspawn needs to be fucking fired.
I don't know. I kind of like the newer
They
Dark
look
Spawn.
like fucking gardeners, like with their hats. Like,
Well,
oh fuck, they're out doing the gardening in the
that
desert.
matches what they look like in 2
Yeah, and I
and
hated
Heroes,
2.
the
And-
Heroes of Dragon Age mobile game too.
And I hated how they looked in Dragon Age 2. That was like the worst. Like,
Yeah.
they had character in Dragon Age Origins, and then you'd be like, yes, we can't do them individually to have different looks, so we make everyone the same plain fucking ugly thing that nobody's going to be afraid of ever. And like,
Yeah.
yay!
Well, I like the changes they made for each race and their respective Darkspawn, but I do agree with you on like the armors and stuff like that. They probably could have changed, but at least
yeah,
now
they look
like
like canned gardeners.
at least now the human Darkspawn look like humans. The dwarven Darkspawn look like dwarves, and so on.
Yeah. We ended up on Dragon Age again.
Hey, it's me. We always end on Dragon Age. But real quick, also to mention, I'm gonna get into foam armor smithing, and one of the first things I want to do, which I'm actually just telling everybody not to give me anything for my birthday except for money, is I'm gonna save up. I think I already looked at the budget, and for like $60, I could probably make a full set of Grey Warden armor.
Cool.
Hopefully I can. If I can, I'll definitely get pictures and I'll show it to you. But it's gonna be badass if I can pull it off. And I'll definitely like wear it for Halloween and to conventions and just whenever I can get an excuse to wear it.
Yeah.
But if that works out, then I'm definitely gonna get an armor smithing period and probably like do it as a side hobby because you can make mad bank on that. Like $60 in material. If you do a good job, you could sell the entire outfit for like $600.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, we're closing in on the end here, and
I haven't wasted a lot of time on Dragon Age again.
well, it was what it's like. The episode ended up how it ended up. That's just the way my podcast goes.
We always gravitate to the dragon.
Yeah, I haven't read Last Flight yet because I
read all the books.
Yeah, and I also bought 3 Mass Effect books that or from the guy who Nate recommended. So I'm getting 3 of, I don't know, K is his last name, I think. Something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't remember his name, but I got 3 of those. And I could have bought them. Like, I just realized I bought the Dragon Age book from Sweden, and then I went out and bought the Mass Effect books on Amazon, and I was like, fuck, I could have gotten the books way faster if I probably just went on to the same site where I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's no rush really. I mostly want them for when I'm going to Vancouver and that sort of stuff, because I don't know what stuff I will have to waste time and that sort of stuff. You don't know really what's happening, and so reading is a good way to do that. So probably wait to read Last Fight. All I'm hoping for at the end of that is like like
The Griffins are alive.
yeah, sort of like there would be like, oh yeah, there's this,
We hid some eggs, bitches.
yeah, and we hide them here in northern of Fades or whatever. Like it's just some place they were gonna be like, here we have a griffin farm. We're gonna keep this a secret from everyone, and then suddenly
We're gonna come back with goddamn vengeance.
yeah, in a DLC soon, story DLC, be like, yeah, now you can get fucking griffins and fly
Can you
everywhere.
imagine the aerial combat in Dragon Age?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Alright, enough about Dragon Age.
Yeah. Yeah, so is there something you want to plug, say, before you go?
No, just the channel again, because I'm an asshole. So,
Yeah, no, it's all
amazingly average gameplay of Anthony on YouTube. I'm starting to stream a little bit more of Twitch. Like, I recently got my code from Devolver Digital, so I'll probably be doing Hotline Miami 2 sometime very soon. Probably already have done so by the time this is published. But definitely check out my channel. I played with Rasmus and Doug. We were doing Sanctum. Lots of other great stuff there. YouTube.com/user/AmzAveGameAnt, or just search Amazing Average Gameplay of Anthony. And I've said that 5 times now, so I think we're good.
So people will remember it.
Yes.
And for my thing, I have only one episode to go before I reach 100, and I have no freaking idea what to. My idea from the beginning was like just having a long stream thing about it, but I don't really know if I want to do that, because like I mostly record when I don't record with people. I record it in the afternoons.
Yeah, I think for 100, we should try and get like a whole bunch of people together and just make it chaos.
Yeah, I was really tempted to do that, but then that's really fucking hard to pull off. And I know last time I waited to do that. I did it for episode 50. I wanted to do the exact same thing, and all I got was Doug and Smart Guy, who, by the way, for people who doesn't know, really doesn't work well with each other and continually just piss each other off, and just like they should never be on the same podcast ever. And so that episode was really, I wouldn't say bad, it was really chaotic, like the way you said, but only us three, so it didn't really work out as well as I hoped. And and up until I did episode 50, I waited so long that I really get off track, and afterwards it took a long time before I got going again. And I'm afraid when I do episode 100, if I do the thing that you mentioned, that I will search for the like, oh, I will do it that time, and then suddenly it just gets postponed, and then I don't get going again. So that's what I'm afraid of. I don't know.
Maybe I can swing back on. Maybe probably get on. Who knows?
But problem is I can't really, like, the annoying thing is I can't, like, since that's the case, it's gonna be late. I can't really speak up or like be excited.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
That's why I feel like that's annoying. So.
Well, maybe on a Saturday earlier in the day, because like Saturday is usually a day I'll record. I can put it off and do because I'll usually do 2 sessions. I'll do like one at the beginning of the day and one at night recording. Maybe I could skip one, like the beginning of the day one, and just do the night one.
So it's either that, or I will actually put out some feelers for some people that I wanted
definitely see who's interested.
Wanted to have on, like people I watch and that sort of stuff, and see if I could get someone cool. And
you just got like Chris Green on there, and that was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I want to have cool people on more, and just not like.
Well, that's why you had
it's
me.
It's not only 100, like the 100th episode making that, but I want like more special episodes. So yeah, like cool stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna put out some feelers. I'm gonna actually try to get John for next week. Maybe I haven't talked to him in a while, so I will try to see if he's alive, so that he can tell people that he is alive, because he hasn't really been available much on Twitter, that sort of stuff. So that's hopefully my idea. Don't know it yet, but see. Yes, so where people can find me, you can find me Story of Crown pretty much everywhere. And mainly it's Instagram and Twitter. I'm plugging my Instagram mostly because that is something I will use more when I go to Vancouver, because it's easy to use when I just take pictures and that sort of stuff. For you can subscribe if you like, people. That's
Definitely should.
You're allowed to do that.
No, it's a demand. You
Yes.
must. Otherwise, when Edmund comes to power, you will be his first victims.
Yes, but yeah, it's been going pretty decently. I gained few subscribers recently. It's not much, but I gained subscribers. That's usually don't happen as much, so that's at least awesome. And I've been gaining followers a little bit recently as well, so that I'm happy about that. So yeah, it's all around. It's just going fair above average. It's not going like really fast, if we say that, but it's going above average.
It's a slow burn. I mean,
Yeah.
like I've been at it with the whole YouTube thing, and I'm just now at like 2040.
Yeah.
Then again, I guess I should just shut up because you're still
292.
Yeah.
And that's some of them are I think still bot accounts. So.
Oh, I still think most of mine though are just dead subs from like popular videos, so I wouldn't feel too bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, you get noticed a little bit more if you have more subscribers. Like that is, yeah.
You just got to make a sex tape.
Yeah, of course. And I should also make my. I have a great idea for my April Fool's video. It's not gonna be really fooling kind, but it's a video I just want to make, and I want to make it now before I don't know if I'm away or I can do it at April 1st. So I'm gonna do that.
Make it happen.
Yeah, and it's the idea comes from a weird French movie that I've taken the idea to continue on with my polar bear April Fools from last year. So that's going to be great. Yes, thank you people for watching, listening, whatever you are doing while enjoying this. So yeah, thank you all, and goodbye, and good night, and good morning, and whatever.
All that good stuff.
Yes, bye.